Every day, millions of people sit down to eat without thinking twice. A full plate. Warm food. Enough to feel satisfied. Now imagine sitting in a small room, surrounded by concrete and steel, waiting for a tray that decides how hungry you will be for the rest of the day. This is not about crime. This is not about punishment. This is about food, and what happens when food is never enough. Inside prison walls, hunger is quiet. It doesn't scream. It doesn't run. It stays with you when the lights go out. It follows you from breakfast to lunch, and from dinner to sleep. For many inmates, food is not comfort. It is a daily reminder of control, survival, and patience. A spoonful of oatmeal that tastes like water. Bread so dry it crumbles in your hands. Meals served fast, eaten faster, and forgotten even faster, not because they are bad, but because your body is still asking for more. In prison, food is more than nutrition. It becomes a clock, a test, a lesson in discipline. Some people lose weight without trying. Others learn how to stretch a meal meant for 10 minutes into something that feels like an hour. Many learn to trade, save, or go to bed hungry just to make it through another day. And the hardest part? This hunger doesn't care who you are. Young or old. Guilty or innocent. First day or 10th year. Behind bars, food shapes mood, behavior, health, and hope. It can calm a block or create tension. It can bring people together or push them apart. And for many, it becomes the one thing they think about more than freedom. This is the real story of prison diets. Not rumors. Not movies. Not exaggeration. Just the quiet reality of hunger behind bars. The first meal inside. The first meal in prison is something many people never forget. It does not matter why someone is there. It does not matter how tough they think they are. When the food tray is placed in front of them for the first time, reality becomes very clear. This is not home. Most people arrive tired, confused, and hungry. Some have not eaten properly for hours. Some for days. The body expects comfort, but prison does not offer comfort. It offers routine. The tray usually comes without warning. A loud door opens. Someone calls out. A line forms. Everything moves fast. There is no time to ask questions. No time to complain. You take what you are given and move on. On the tray, the food looks small. Not broken. Not dirty. Just small. A scoop of something soft. A piece of bread. Maybe a drink that does not taste like much. For many first-timers, this is when the silence begins. People look at the food. Then they look around. They watch others. No one talks much. Everyone seems to know something you don't. Some eat slowly, trying to make it last. Others eat fast, afraid it might be taken away. A few don't eat at all, not because they are not hungry, but because their stomach feels tight from fear and stress. Hunger in prison is different from hunger at home. At home, hunger means you will eat soon. In prison, hunger means you must wait. And waiting is part of the punishment, even when no one says it out loud. Meals come at fixed times. Breakfast early. Lunch too soon. Dinner too early. After that, there is nothing. No snacks. No second plates. No opening the fridge later at night. That first day teaches an important lesson. Food is no longer personal. You don't choose it. You don't season it. You don't send it back. Food becomes something that happens to you, not something you enjoy. For many inmates, the body reacts fast. Heads feel light. Stomachs growl. Energy drops. Some people lose weight in the first few weeks without trying. Others feel tired all the time and don't understand why. But the hunger is not just in the stomach. It is in the mind. People start thinking about the next meal right after finishing the last one. They count hours. They listen for sounds. They learn the schedule quickly, because knowing when food comes gives a sense of control. Some inmates remember meals from home. Family dinners. Warm plates. Seconds without asking. Those memories can hurt more than the hunger itself. Others try not to think about food at all. They distract themselves. They sleep. They walk in circles. Anything to make time move faster. Very quickly, inmates learn that food is connected to behavior. If you follow rules, you eat. If you break rules, food can be taken away. Missing a meal becomes a warning, a reminder of where you are. Over time, hunger changes people. Small things matter more. A slightly bigger scoop. Bread that feels fresher. A meal that arrives hot instead of cold. These small differences feel huge when food is limited. This is when inmates begin to understand something important. Prison food is not designed to satisfy. It is designed to maintain. Just enough to keep the body going. Just enough to survive. And for many, that first meal is when survival truly begins. Learning to live with hunger. After the first few meals, something changes. The shock fades, but the hunger stays. By the second week, the body begins to understand the new rules. Food will come, but never enough. Not enough to feel full. Not enough to forget about it. Just enough to keep going. This is when hunger becomes part of daily life. Every morning starts the same way. Lights turn on early. Too early. The stomach already feels empty, even before getting out of bed. Breakfast comes fast, often before the body is ready to eat. Some days it is something soft. Some days it is cold. Some days it feels like eating air. People learn quickly not to expect variety. The menu changes slowly, if at all. The same tastes, the same textures, the same disappointment. At first, many inmates complain quietly to themselves. Then they stop. Complaining does not add food. It only adds stress. Instead, people adapt. Some inmates eat slower than they ever have in their lives. They chew longer. They pause between bites. They try to trick the body into feeling full. A meal that should last 5 minutes is stretched into 15. Others save part of their meal, even though they are hungry. A piece of bread hidden away. A spoonful saved for later. Hunger teaches planning. By lunchtime, the stomach is already talking again. Lunch arrives, but it feels too close to breakfast and too far from dinner. The body never catches up. People start to feel the hunger in different ways. Some feel weak. Some feel angry. Some feel tired all the time. Small problems feel bigger. Small words feel heavier. This is when hunger begins to affect behavior. People become quieter or more tense. Simple misunderstandings turn into arguments. Not because people are bad, but because hunger shortens patience. Officers notice it too. A hungry block is a restless block. Food becomes a tool to keep order. Meals arrive on time, not to be kind, but to keep things calm. Dinner is the most important meal of the day. Not because it is bigger, but because it is the last one. Once dinner is over, the long night begins. Night hunger is the hardest. Lying on a bunk, the stomach feels louder in the silence. Thoughts slow down. Sleep comes late. Some people dream about food. Others wake up hungry again and again. This is when inmates learn another rule. Hunger does not go away if you ignore it. You either learn to live with it, or it lives with you. Some people turn to exercise. Push-ups, walking, anything to distract the mind. Others read or write letters. Anything to make time move faster. Slowly, inmates begin to understand that food is not just about eating. It is about control. You cannot choose when you eat. You cannot choose what you eat. You cannot choose how much you eat. That loss of control is heavy. People start to measure days by meals. Not by dates. Not by weeks. Breakfast means morning. Dinner means night. Food becomes the clock. This is also when comparisons begin. People notice who gets more. Who works in the kitchen. Who looks stronger. Who looks thinner. Some inmates lose weight quickly. Clothes hang loose. Faces change. Others hold their weight but feel weaker inside. Medical staff sometimes step in, but rarely unless things get serious. Hunger is common. It is expected. It is part of the system. By now, most inmates stop hoping meals will improve. Hope is replaced with routine. Routine is easier to survive. Food becomes something you prepare for mentally, not something you enjoy. And by the end of the second chapter of prison life, one truth is clear. Hunger is no longer a surprise. It is a companion. It walks with you from morning to night, reminding you where you are and teaching you how to endure. Surviving beyond the tray. After hunger becomes normal, something else begins to happen. People stop waiting for food to change. Instead, they change. By this point, most inmates understand one hard truth. The meal tray will never be enough. Not today. Not next week. Not next year. If survival depends only on the tray, life will feel long and painful. So inmates begin to look beyond it. This is when prison hunger turns into prison strategy. The first lesson is simple. Nothing is wasted. Every crumb matters. Bread is saved. Small portions are split carefully. Even food that doesn't taste good is eaten, because taste is no longer the goal. Energy is. People learn which meals fill the stomach longer. Soft foods disappear fast. Heavier foods, even if boring, become valuable. A plain meal that lasts in the stomach is better than a tasty one that disappears too quickly. Hunger sharpens attention. Inmates start watching others. Not in a bad way, but in a learning way. Who always seems less hungry? Who looks stronger? Who never rushes their meals? The answer is often the same. People who have access to extra food. This is when the idea of prison jobs becomes important. Working in the kitchen changes everything. Kitchen workers don't get rich. They don't eat like kings. But they learn things others don't. How food is prepared. What days' portions are bigger. Which meals are better. Sometimes they get small extras. Nothing big. Just enough to matter. That small difference can change an entire day. Because in prison, small advantages feel huge. Not everyone can work in the kitchen. Jobs are limited. And jobs come with rules. You must be trusted. You must follow orders. One mistake, and the job is gone. So people become careful. Hunger teaches discipline. Others find different ways. The prison store, often called the commissary, becomes the center of survival. This is where inmates can buy extra food, if they have money. Snacks. Ramen noodles. Small items that mean everything. But money is not equal inside prison. Some inmates have support from family. Others have nothing. This creates a quiet difference that everyone can see but no one talks about openly. Those with commissary eat better. Not full, but better. Those without must be smarter. This is where trading begins. In prison, food becomes currency. A packet of noodles can be worth a favor. A piece of bread can be saved for later. Nothing is written down. Nothing is official. But everyone understands the value. Trading food requires trust. Trust is rare inside prison, but hunger makes people take risks. Some people trade wisely. Others learn the hard way. Still, for many inmates, trading is the only way to survive long nights. Another lesson appears. Hunger changes priorities. Things that once felt important no longer matter. Comfort, pride, even boredom. Hunger cuts through everything. People stop thinking about what they want. They think about what they need. Some inmates learn to cook using almost nothing. A few items from commissary. Hot water. Creativity. Meals made inside cells, slowly and quietly. These meals are not fancy, but they are warm. And warmth matters. Cooking becomes a form of control. For a moment, inmates choose what goes into their body. That moment feels powerful. Others struggle more. Some inmates lose weight fast. Faces grow thinner. Energy drops. Illness comes easier. Hunger weakens the body over time. Medical help exists, but it moves slowly. Hunger alone is not an emergency. Many suffer quietly. This is when hunger becomes emotional. People feel embarrassed asking for help. Ashamed of needing food. Some withdraw. Others become anxious. Letters from home help. Photos help. But they also remind inmates of what they don't have. Food from memory becomes painful. A simple thought like a warm dinner can feel like loss. Yet, even here people adapt. They joke about hunger. They laugh about meals. Humor becomes a shield. Laughing makes the hunger feel smaller, even if only for a moment. Friendships form around food. Sharing becomes a sign of trust. Someone giving away part of their meal is a big gesture. It means respect. Hunger teaches social rules faster than any handbook. People learn who to trust, who not to trust, who shares, who takes. Over time, the body adjusts again. Hunger becomes quieter, but deeper. It doesn't shout anymore. It stays low, steady, always present. This is when inmates realize something important. Surviving prison is not about strength. It is not about anger. It is not about toughness. It is about adaptation. Those who learn to adapt eat better, sleep better, think clearer. Those who fight hunger emotionally suffer more. Food remains limited. That never changes. But the way inmates relate to hunger does. By now, hunger is no longer just a problem. It is a teacher. It teaches patience. It teaches planning. It teaches humility. And it prepares inmates for the next reality they must face. Because hunger does not exist alone. It affects health, mood, choices, and the way people see the future. And soon, the cost of long-term hunger begins to show, in the body and in the mind. When hunger becomes memory. When people think about prison, they often think about walls, bars, and locked doors. They think about rules, uniforms, and silence. But long after those images fade, many former inmates remember something else first. They remember hunger. Not the kind that comes and goes. Not the kind fixed by a snack or a late dinner. But the kind that stays with you quietly, day after day. Hunger behind bars is not loud. It does not announce itself. It waits. It waits in the early morning when lights turn on too soon. It waits in the long space between meals. It waits at night, when the building is quiet and the body has nothing left to distract it. Over time, hunger stops feeling like an emergency and starts feeling like a background noise. Always there. Always present. Easy to ignore for a moment, impossible to forget forever. For many inmates, hunger reshapes how they see the world. Food becomes more than food. It becomes time. It becomes control. It becomes comfort, stress, hope, and disappointment all at once. A small meal can feel like relief. A missed meal can feel like loss. A warm bite can feel like kindness, even when no kindness was intended. Inside prison, hunger teaches lessons no classroom ever could. It teaches patience. When to wait. When to move. When to stay quiet. It teaches planning. How to save. How to stretch. How to think ahead when the body wants now. It teaches humility. Because hunger does not care who you were before. It does not care about pride, strength, or status. Everyone eats the same way. Everyone feels it the same way. And slowly, hunger changes people. Some become quieter. Some become sharper. Some become more aware of others. Some pull inward. But almost everyone adapts. Adaptation is the real survival skill inside prison. Not anger. Not fear. Not toughness. Adaptation. The inmates who survive best are not always the strongest. They are the ones who learn to live with less. To expect less. To make peace with limits. They learn that hunger cannot be fought every day. Some days, it must simply be carried. And that carrying does something to a person. It makes small things matter. A shared meal. A saved piece of bread. A warm cup of something simple. Moments that would mean nothing outside prison can mean everything inside. Hunger also changes how people see each other. Sharing food becomes a sign of trust. Refusing to share becomes a line drawn. Food can create friendships, and it can end them. It reveals character. Who saves only for themselves. Who gives when they have little. Who remembers what it feels like to go without. In a place where freedom is gone, food becomes one of the last personal choices a person can make. How fast to eat. What to save. Who to share with. Those choices matter. And long after someone leaves prison, hunger often follows them in unexpected ways. Some former inmates eat fast, even years later. Some struggle with portion control. Some feel anxious when food is not nearby. Some never forget the feeling of an empty night. Hunger leaves a mark that is not visible. It changes how people appreciate food, how they respect it, how they waste it, or never waste it again. For some, hunger becomes motivation, a reminder of where they never want to return, a reason to rebuild, to work, to protect the life they have outside. For others, it becomes a quiet memory they carry without words. But one thing is certain. Hunger behind bars is not a detail. It is not background. It is not minor. It is a daily experience that shapes behavior, health, emotion, and survival. It reminds inmates every single day that prison is designed not for comfort, but for control. Yet even in that control, people remain human. They adapt. They share. They laugh. They endure. And in the middle of concrete walls and steel doors, hunger teaches a final lesson. That the human spirit can adjust to almost anything. But it never forgets what it felt like to need. This is the reality of hunger behind bars. Not exaggerated. Not imagined. Not forgotten. Just lived.